23. Low appraisals and transaction solutions. Michael thought he had seen just about every situation an appraisal could create. Then his phone rang. It was Emily. "You remember our friends Ryan and Jessica?" she asked. "They finally found a house. They offered $15,000 over the asking price because there were multiple offers. They just received the appraisal." Michael smiled. "Let me guess. It didn't come in at the contract price." Emily sighed. "It was $20,000 low. If the seller won't reduce the price, are they going to lose the house?" This is one of the most stressful moments in many real estate transactions. The buyers are emotionally invested. The sellers have already started packing. The lender is waiting for instructions. Both real estate agents are searching for solutions. Before discussing those solutions, it's important to understand something many clients misunderstand. A low appraisal does not automatically mean the appraiser made a mistake. Likewise, it does not automatically mean the buyers overpaid or the sellers overpriced the home. An appraisal is simply one appraiser's independent opinion of market value, based on available market evidence as of the effective date of the appraisal. Sometimes that opinion supports the contract price. Sometimes it does not. Why do low appraisals occur? There are several reasons. Perhaps the market has been appreciating rapidly, and recent comparable sales have not yet caught up with current buyer demand. Maybe multiple buyers competed aggressively, pushing the contract price beyond what recent market data supports. Sometimes the subject property has unique features that buyers highly value, but there are few comparable sales reflecting those characteristics. In other situations, declining market conditions may cause contract prices negotiated weeks earlier to exceed current market value by the time the appraisal is completed. Every transaction is different. Let's return to Ryan and Jessica. Their purchase contract was for $540,000. The appraisal came in at $520,000. The lender explained that the loan amount would be based on the lower of the purchase price or the appraised value. That immediately created a financing gap. Ryan looked discouraged. "So what can we do?" Experienced Arizona brokers know there is rarely only one solution. One option is for the seller to reduce the purchase price to match the appraised value. This is often the simplest solution because it allows the financing to move forward without requiring additional cash from the buyer. Of course, not every seller is willing or financially able to lower the price. Another possibility is for the buyer to increase the down payment. If the buyers have additional funds available, they may choose to contribute more cash at closing to make up some or all of the difference between the contract price and the appraised value. Some buyers gladly choose this option because they believe the property is worth the additional investment based on their long-term goals. Another common solution involves negotiation. Perhaps the seller agrees to reduce the price by $10,000, and the buyer contributes an additional $10,000. By sharing the difference, both parties move the transaction toward closing. This is where skilled negotiation often makes the greatest difference. Now let's talk about another option that has become increasingly important in today's lending environment: the reconsideration of value, often called an ROV. Suppose the listing agent discovers that a highly comparable property closed 2 days before the appraisal was completed, but had not yet appeared in the data available to the appraiser. Or perhaps the appraisal contains a factual error, such as an incorrect bedroom count, inaccurate square footage, or omitted permitted improvements. Rather than arguing with the appraiser, the lender may have a formal process allowing additional factual information to be submitted for review. It's important to remember that the request is typically handled through the lender, not by pressuring the appraiser directly. An ROV is not an opportunity to ask the appraiser to make the value work. Instead, it is an opportunity to provide relevant market evidence or correct factual inaccuracies that may influence the appraisal. Here's where many agents get into trouble. The appraisal comes in low, and the first thing they tell their clients is the appraiser doesn't know the market. Experienced brokers avoid making statements like that. Instead, they review the appraisal carefully. They verify the comparable sales. They look for factual errors. They evaluate whether additional objective market information exists. Only after completing that review do they determine whether an ROV may be appropriate. Sometimes, after reviewing the report, they conclude the appraisal is well supported, even if the value is disappointing. Professionalism requires accepting that possibility as well. Let's return to Ryan and Jessica. Their agent carefully reviewed the appraisal and found that it accurately reflected the available market data. Rather than challenging the report, the buyer and seller negotiated a compromise. The seller reduced the purchase price by $12,000. Ryan and Jessica increased their down payment to cover the remaining difference. The transaction closed successfully. Several months later, neighborhood sales supported values well above their purchase price. The buyers were happy. The seller was satisfied. The lender completed a sound loan. Everyone benefited because the parties focused on solutions instead of blame. This is one of the hallmarks of experienced real estate professionals. Low appraisals are rarely about winning an argument. They're about helping buyers and sellers evaluate their available options, communicate effectively, and make informed decisions based on accurate information. In the final section of this chapter, we'll shift our attention to the role of the real estate professional. You'll learn how knowledgeable Arizona brokers help clients prepare for appraisals, communicate with lenders and appraisers, and reduce valuation problems before they occur. Broker tip: when an appraisal comes in below the contract price, resist the urge to react emotionally. Review the report carefully, verify the facts, explore available options with your client, and communicate professionally with the lender and the other parties. Calm, objective problem solving often saves transactions that initially appear to be in jeopardy. Online discussion. 1. Why doesn't a low appraisal automatically mean the appraiser made a mistake? Answer: a low appraisal reflects the appraiser's independent opinion of market value based on available market evidence as of the effective date of the appraisal. Differences between contract price and appraised value may result from market conditions, limited comparable sales, rapid appreciation, or unique property characteristics rather than appraisal errors. 2. What options are commonly available when a property appraises below the contract price? Answer: possible solutions include renegotiating the purchase price, increasing the buyer's down payment, sharing the difference between buyer and seller, or, when supported by objective evidence, pursuing the lender's reconsideration of value process to address factual errors or additional comparable sales. 3. Why is professionalism important when responding to a low appraisal? Answer: professionalism keeps the focus on facts rather than emotions. Carefully reviewing the appraisal, communicating respectfully with all parties, and focusing on solutions based on evidence leads to better outcomes. And exploring practical solutions helps protect clients' interests and increases the likelihood of successfully completing the transaction.